In the screencast, we're going to have a look at how we edit or trim our clips once they're actually down on the timeline down here. We're going to look at a few of the tools we can use to make that a bit more efficient and how we work with the clips and take out some of the stages we might be using at the moment. So we're going to look at some of the tools on our toolbar along here. We're going to work with the ripple tool, the roll, slip and slide edits. So at the moment, when you're first starting off with your editing, chances are if you want to adjust these clips once you've got them on your timeline, you're probably selecting them and then moving the clip in here, so adjusting the time and the duration of the clip, and then giving yourselves this gap and then having to either drag the rest of your clips to meet that first clip, or you're right clicking and doing a ripple delete to pull everything together. So another way of doing that is if we use the ripple edit tool. So if we go to the ripple edit tool here and we go down to this cut point, and you can see you can work either side of that cut. So we're going to work on the first clip for this example, and again we're just going to make that a bit shorter and bring that in. So if you click and drag and we bring this first clip down, you can see up in the top right that we can see exactly what's going on in that clip. So if we're being quite specific about the action, we can pinpoint that action where we want it to cut. So if we bring that down to around the minute mark, and then what we'll see is when we let go, when we release the mouse, this second clip, it moves along and it's going to bring the rest of your timeline and your whole film down and fill that gap. So we've gone from a 4-minute film down to just over 3 minutes. So where we've taken that clip, the first clip, the contents out, we've effectively replaced that with what else was remaining on the timeline. So for our second example, if we look at what happens when we use the roll in edit tool, so we're going to do the same thing. We've got our 2 clips, approximately a couple of minutes long each. We're going to hover over that cut point and then drag so that our first clip is shorter. So we're going to bring it down to around a minute. Again, we can see up in the top right that we can see that first clip and the content, so we can see where we want the cut to be. But we also notice that the second clip, the timestamp on that and the action there is also moving. So we're obviously having some impact on the second clip. So when we drop that, so our first clip is now shorter, you'll notice what happens is our second clip has actually extended. So as far as our timeline goes, we've still got 4 minutes worth of footage, but now that second half and where we've taken the content out of the first clip, that's now been replaced by what was already in the second clip. So effectively we've moved the in point. So we originally would have selected an in point on the second clip, but we're using the content and the footage from before, prior to that in point. So our third example is going to be our slip edit. So for this one, we've got 3 clips lined up. So all 3 are approximately a couple of minutes each. And if we've got slip edit, what happens here is if we work with the middle clip, that's for our example, we've got it highlighted, and then when we click and drag, we can see that the timestamp is moving. And if we look in the top right, we can see the action there is moving. So what we're doing is we're actually working with the footage within that particular clip. So you're just shifting that along slightly. And when you drop it and you edit, what you'll see is that the clip before and the clip after stay exactly the same. Their content is the same and their time duration is the same. So all you've done is change the content in this middle clip. So you've shifted the content you were using, so you've effectively moved your in and out points to a slightly different point along that particular clip. In our fourth example, so the slide tool, again we're going to work with our 3 clip example, so all 3 clips roughly a couple of minutes long each. And this time if we select our middle clip and we drag it, and what happens now is we're actually overlapping and working with the clips either side of that middle clip. So maybe it's a case of we want to bring that middle clip so it comes in a bit earlier, so we bring that closer and overlapping on the first clip. And then when we drop it, we've got a combination of what we were working with earlier with the ripple and the roll. So our first clip is now shorter, so our second clip comes in a lot earlier and we don't have any gaps there, so that's moved along as we need it, so it's still joined. And then where our second clip is still the same duration as what we had originally, and it's still got the same content, but this time we've now moved our third clip, the in point has moved, so we've still got a 6-minute film, so our timeline still finishes in its same point. It's just that our third clip is now filling up effectively that gap that's created from moving down closer to the first clip. So another way of looking at these 4 examples is to kind of compare our timelines and what we've done. So we started with the ripple edit. So this was where we had 2 clips and we moved that edit point and we brought it in closer, so the first clip was shorter and it makes the whole film shorter. Second example we looked at was the roll edit. So this one was where we had our 2 clips, we brought that first edit point closer, so the first clip is shorter, but this time the duration of the whole of our film stays as it was, so the second clip is now expanded and is filling up the time that we took away at the end of the first clip. And we've also got the slip edit. So this was the one where if you look at your timeline, it's exactly the same because your clips, the duration doesn't change at all. It's purely the content within the clip that you've highlighted and worked with. So it might be that this particular clip, you've effectively moved the in and out point slightly. So it's just the content of that clip that you've adjusted. And then our fourth example was the slide edit. So we had our 3 clips lined up. Again, the time duration is exactly the same. You've still got 6 minutes worth of film. But this time where you've moved that middle clip and made the first clip shorter, you've then had the added footage come in on the third clip. So it's extended that third clip. So we can see there it's a lot longer than it was in our first timeline. And that's the end of our screencast for today.